Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome along to round 7 of 9 of the Mercedes-AMG Motorsport eRacing competition. I'm James Kirk, joined by Mr. Robert Wieser-Muller, and Rob, we have a fantastic event once again on our hands. One qualifying session followed by one race, plenty of fantastic drivers on display, and we're heading around one of the iconic motorsport racing venues, the Nürburgring.
Yeah, hello. 7th round of the Mercedes-AMG eRacing competition. We're here at the Nürburgring, and it's getting serious. Only 9 races in the championship, and then the final event where the fastest 6 drivers of the online competition qualify. The 6 drivers that have scored the most points, and now they really need to collect their points here at the Nürburgring, because if you take a look at the championship standings, you can see that it's a very, very tight battle there at the bottom for P6. The guy in first place, Jack Keithley, on 95 points, already qualified for the final, unless he makes a mistake, unless he scores a penalty now. But even if he DNFs in this race, his drop score will come in, and the guy in 7th place, Moritz Löhner, he can't catch Jack Keithley anymore and put him out of the top 6. But for all the drivers behind him, it should be really exciting here. They need to score the points to qualify for the final, to get a ticket for the final race of the DTM at Hockenheim, to race on the simulator against the entire DTM team of Mercedes-AMG.
Yeah, kudos to Jack for putting in such a fantastic shift in the season so far. But there is certainly a major talking point going into this Nürburgring event. There's no Tim Heinemann, and perhaps to shed a little bit of light on why that is, Rob, we've got this very useful little highlights package from last round at Zandvoort, which hopefully you will all enjoy.
Keithley in pole, Heinemann in second, Rebernack third, Schön fourth. That's the ones who we pay the most attention of in the beginning of this race. And Heinemann just got a really good start, and he's leading the pack in front of Jack Keithley.
Oh, Keithley fights back. Oh, puts Heinemann onto the grass. That was rough. Oh, I think someone's off. Rebernack, he's off.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, Heinemann! What a move!
Robert, he didn't pass him on the tarmac, he passed him over the grass.
6 minutes to go here in this race though, and Tim Heinemann, he's not looking like he's making any mistakes. He can just keep the inside here on the start-finish straight, and Keithley really has limited opportunities to make the pass.
But Tim Heinemann holds the line. That's really impressive.
Oh, contact for the lead! Heinemann keeps the lead, but now Keithley is under pressure by Daniel Schön. Oh, and Honzig!
What's he doing?
Honzig tries to capitalize here and moves past Schön with a super aggressive overtake.
And once again, he tries it over the outside through the Tarzanbruch. And still Heinemann keeps the line, and now Thomas Jäger is all in front of them.
Ooh, and he's a bit in the way there. Oh, and Heinemann's... Ooh! I don't think he saw him in the rearview mirror, and now Heinemann, he has to defend super hard against Keithley, and Honzig is there as well.
Not only Keithley, I would say.
And Keithley's going for the inside, and that was a bit of contact once again, but he's in the lead. Oh, contact once again from Heinemann.
Oh, and he's now in danger even to lose P3. And then down to the start-finish straight, and it is Tim Heinemann who finally wins this race. It's a real close gap, but he's the winner here at round number 6 of the Mercedes-Benz eRacing competition. Honzig from the Czech Republic in second place, and Jack Keithley third position.
Yeah, that was it. A pretty exciting race. I thought you know, passing is not possible on this track, and
but it was.
It was, yeah.
Right, so I've had the pleasure of commentating on this series a couple of times during the course of the season, Rob, and in those particular events, it was very much the case of Hyman and Keithley were a step above the rest. But certainly in keeping tabs over the course of the season, and it really did reach a flashpoint in Zandvoort, didn't it? The differences between the two were key. Keithley has stayed out of trouble this season. Heinemann has not, and that ultimately is why he's having to sit out today.
Yeah, well, to be honest, Keithley also drove really aggressively in some of the past rounds, especially if you watched the race at the Lausitzring, where he turned around Kevin Siggy for the win.
Of course,
so Keithley actually also has got a lot of penalty points now, and the story was kind of that these two, Heinemann and Keithley, were always getting involved with each other because they both want to win this competition so much. And they were kind of forgetting a little bit about, you know, keeping it clean on the track. And of course, we want to promote clean racing, and we run a system with stewards here. And for Tim Heinemann, he has to sit out one race, but he will come back, hopefully, for the next race. And it's a great chance for his rivals, especially for this guy here, Julian Kunze. Returning to the series after missing 2 races, he's still looking really strong in the championship. And in the current qualifying session, he's on provisional pole position.
Yeah, he's still 3rd in the championship, which it seems balmy that he is in that position after missing 2 rounds. But one particular aspect of this series, which is playing in his favour, of course, is the addition of a drop round system. And so one of those rounds he can sort of let us by. He's obviously then not scored in another round. Things working well, though, for Julian, and I'm sure he'll be looking to get plenty more points on the board in order to secure one of those top 6 positions for the live event, of course, at the Hockenheim Ring. 6 minutes left in qualifying. It is Kunze from Keithley and Hasse. And of course, as always, we have a star driver in the form of Danny Juncadella, who's professed his love for the series plenty of times, and it's good to see him back once again, Rob.
Yeah, and he's racing from the Mercedes-Benz Hospitality at the Nürburgring. That's why you see the German flag and not the Spanish one. He's sitting right there in the paddock of the DTM race. Racing brought a simulator for him. And he already drove 2 times in this championship, and from all the VIP drivers, and we had quite a few. We had Pascal Wehrlein, for example, Maxi Götz, and Thomas Jäger the last time. From all the VIP drivers, he was by far the most competitive. And I think he's the guy who could maybe get into top 6, top 7 in this race.
We can hope so, can't we? We can only hope. It's great to see him back, as always. Another person who will be looking to get some more points on the board, someone who I know is very excited from events last time out in Zandvoort, is Jaroslav Honzik, who's been showing constant improvement round after round after round, and to reach that 2nd place, of course, in itself is a fantastic achievement. I'm sure he'll be wanting to go even further in the last few remaining rounds before, of course, that live event, but not looking so hot so far. Only P15 for Jaroslav. He's just coming around the final corner to set what will be his first competitive lap time of the session. He pre-qualified in P7, and he's there or thereabouts once again. P6, not up the sharp end of things so far. The man on provisional pole position, now Jack Keithley, who has usurped Kunze at the top.
Yeah, Keithley showing no signs of slowing down here. He's been the dominating driver of the season. He's won all races except 2, except the last race and the first race, which were both won by Tim Heinemann. But the Englishman, he's been certainly the star of the show here in the Mercedes-AMG eRacing competition.
There is one scenario, isn't there, where he doesn't end up qualifying, and that's something along the lines of he non-scores every single round from here, or he gets something like a penalty, you know, which forces him out of a race, and then of course the man in 7th, the learner, manages to win every race or something. He might have been in trouble a lot, obviously less than Heinemann, which is, you know, what is playing in his favour this time around. But the man has got such pace. He can afford to take a race ban at this stage and still qualify. It's incredible. And going even faster, purple first sector, once again, he is going to be a real force to be reckoned with. And I imagine that the Mercedes team is going to be quaking in their boots.
Yeah, that's something that Peter Reichert, who commentated on the last event, has mentioned. We all wonder how Jack Keithley would do in a real racing car, because he's showing amazing promise here on the simulator. And essentially, I mean, you're missing a lot of things like the G-forces and the actual physical demands that you have in a race car. But from the pure driving, it's very, very close. And so we're all really curious what Keithley could do. What he can do in this qualifying, though, is at a 1 minute 19.575. So he's 2.5 tenths faster than Julian Kunze, who's currently sitting in second place. So once again, Keithley, the man on form. Kunze second, Kevin Siggy-Revanak in third place, then Hasse, Schön and Löhner. And Schön and Löhner, here we have Daniel Schön. These are two drivers that are still hoping to qualify for the final event that are currently not in the top 6. And they need all the points they can get.
They really do, and they've not got much time in this qualifying session left to be able to set a time. 2 minutes remaining as we take another little look at the standings there. So this is the current state of affairs. Of course, Jack Keithley well off in distance. Heinemann not here, of course, but with plenty of points to spare. Kunze looking to get plenty of points there. Kevin Siggy-Revanak has been consistently scoring in and around the podium, which is why he's in a good position. Hasser as well looking good. Honzik really extending that gap back to Lerner with that podium last time out. So it is really up to Lerner and Schön to get some big gains here at the Nürburgring. I keep on mentioning it already. Not many points left, and a reminder to anybody who is new to the simulator of Race Room, qualifying doesn't work like it does in real life. Once that time hits 0, that is it. There is no finishing the end of your lap. What you've got is what you've got. Kevin Siggy there going into P3, and what was scary about Keithley's previous lap, Rob, is that he set a purple sector 1, purple sector 2, and he failed to improve on his sector 3. It was actually a slower sector 3 than his previous one. So theory is he can go even faster than before. And to be fair, actually, Honzik here, I believe, he's done, isn't he? As Kunze.
But Kunze,
look at this.
Not quite, but still a good time. So that means Keithley definitely has a challenger today, and that's Kunze done with qualifying here. Florian Hasse entering the pit lane as well. Let's go to Michael Rechel, one of the really young drivers from Germany, driving for the Impact Racing team in 11th position.
Oh, and all over the place out the hairpin. Goodness me.
That won't be an improvement.
He's set his car up on a bit of oversteer there, hasn't he? And he's gone back to garage, yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like Junkadea here may be the last person to actually set a time that his times, his sectors aren't showing a lot of promise. I imagine that might be into the pits with the Mercedes. No, he's going to finish off the lap in true fashion, or is he? No,
I think the time's running out.
Over. Yep.
Yeah. So that time won't count.
Yeah, no option there for Junkadea, and he finishes P14. But it is Jack Keithley once again on pole position. It wasn't by much, mind you, only by 0.05 seconds, 0.005 of a second in it. Kunze incredibly close, Kevin Siggy third. Time to enter the race.
Yeah, we could see one of the cars bouncing a little bit there in the pit lane, but that should cause no damage. All the cars will be on 100% health when the race starts.
Just excited, Rob. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm excited too, because 20 minutes of racing action are coming up now. And can Kunze stop Keithley? Kunze needs some points. Could definitely do with some points here. But I'm really curious, especially about the performance of Daniel Schön, who was the fastest guy before the event in the leaderboard qualifying to this event.
Yeah,
probably. You see the cars lining up on the grid here?
Didn't qualify as well as he would have wanted, I don't think, Schön. And certainly with the Nürburgring, you'd imagine a lot more opportunities to overtake. It's a wider circuit than Zandvoort, so fingers crossed we'll see as much action, but with maybe a little less contact. 20 minutes of racing awaits. The lights come on, the engine revs rise. And here at the Nürburgring, we are racing. A little bit difficult to see who's got the better start out of the front two. Oh my goodness me, almost going up against the wall. It's
someone's off.
Someone off. Is that
I think it's Ritzmeier.
Yeah, Ritzmeier off there, and it goes 3 wide almost into turn 1. Goodness me. Kevin Siggy getting very involved there. Someone round at turn 1 as well. Plenty of action off the start. I think it's Shun. Unbelievably, we were hyping up before this, and Shun already off at turn 1, getting involved with a number of cars there. But it is Keithley who does lead out of the Mercedes arena from Kunzer and Siggy, who did try to attack there early on. Didn't work out so much. Haas 4th, and Yakubu, out of nowhere, has made a fantastic start. The Brit up to P5 as we exit the hairpin for the first time.
What a start from Yakubu, and I think he benefited massively from the incident there. Schön dropped back, Punkadeya dropped back, and Löhner dropped back as well. So 2 of the drivers that still need all the points have lost a lot of points.
Heading down then through the kink. That is turn 8 up to the chicane, one of the heaviest braking zones on the circuit, of course. Remember, DRS will be in effect in later laps, and this will be a prime opportunity, you'd imagine, to use it down that back straight. Now heading towards the final corner, turn 11. And Keithley is by no means in safe territory. In fact, you'd probably say that Kunzer has taken that final corner much better. End of lap 1 then. And Kunzer tucking up into the slipstream quite nicely. He's going to stay on the outside. Keithley feeling the need to go defensive as we head into turn 1 once again. And oh, look at this, the cutback potentially from Kunzer, but such is the nature of the Mercedes arena that we're going to come back in on the track once again. But look at the drive from Kunzer. Is he going to go clean around the outside? No, he is not.
Oh, Keithley slides.
Undercut, though. And is he going to go around the outside this time? No. Keithley just about holding on, forcing Kunzer off the track. But the German is hungry, and he is very eager, clearly, to make sure that the Brit is under as much pressure as possible in these early stages.
Oh, and Keithley is defending hard against Kunze here. You would think maybe that he's going to give him the position, considering his position in the championship standings, but he's defending really hard. And that's what we want to see.
It's a champion's instinct, isn't it? No mercy, no need or no desire to ever let off or let an opponent pass. He wants to win, and he wants to win in style as we head into the chicane once again. Yakubu defending massively off the advances of Nick Madsen there, the Dane. I think the 2 of them came into contact, and they were holding on to the back of the top 4 pretty easily, but now coming into contact with each other once again, yeah. As DRS comes into effect, and Yakubu was able to pick up the DRS from Hassa, as here goes Kunze. He's definitely got the DRS on Jack Keithley heading into turn 1. Once again, is he going to try the undercut? No, not this time. He brakes a little bit too late, and he almost lets Siggy and Hassa have a sniff there. Keithley, once again, just holding on.
Meanwhile, an update from Dani Punkadeya. He unfortunately retired from the race.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, so something must have happened there. His car standing in the pit lane, so he might have been involved in the first corner accident, might have picked up some damage, but unfortunately race over for the VIP driver already.
And it's a real shame. I like Danny. I want to see him finish races at least, and one of the early casualties here, unfortunately, at the Nürburgring, here on board with Jack Keithley, looking back at the ever-advancing Julian Kunze. You can really see, actually, this is a great angle to see the top 4 pulling away from Yakubu and Madsen, who've really tangled with each other a bit too much. Keithley breaking deep there once again, allowing Kunze onto the back. And you must wonder, Rob, Keithley's an experienced driver. He's dealt with pressure plenty of times, but Kunze is so hungry, and you think that he's got more desire to get points at this stage than Keithley probably does in terms of, securing that top 6 position. Look at Kunze once again, DRS in effect. You can't really go around the outside of turn 1, and that's really clever driving from Keithley, looking to bring Kunze onto the outside. And actually, looking at this, is this Madsen looking at Yakubu not going? I did see.
He's got the inside here.
And Madsen's taking it. Nice move indeed. I was looking at Siggy up ahead, having a little sniff of Kunze as well. Wasn't working. Madsen up into P5, then Yakubu down to P6, and Honzik, who had a poor start, he's moving his way back up the order as well. The Czech driver up to P7.
Yeah, from all the drivers that are in the run for the top 6, we failed to mention Nick Madsen, but he also still has a really realistic chance to qualify, and currently he's running ahead of Honzik. So
yeah,
maybe he will make up some ground here.
I was just saying that Madsen 9th in the championship on 32 points. That's only 2 points behind Lerner in 7th. They were very much still in the battle.
Keithley, though, there's a little train forming behind him.
Well, these 4 have stuck with him, haven't they? And to much avail, but I think in Heinemann, Keithley has had all the experience he's needed this season of dealing with pressure, and he's come out pretty well. Once again, DRS in effect for Julian Kunze, and once again, Jack Keithley goes to the inside. It's almost like an old music disc going on repeat, Robin. Kunze trying to get some purchase, but Keithley's putting his car in all the right places. This is really, really good driving from the Brit.
Kunze looks like he's a bit quicker at the moment. Even without the DRS, even into the braking zones, he looks a little bit more consistent than Jack.
He needs to pull off that overtake though, Rob, because he's not going to be any faster behind him.
Yeah, and let's see what Kevin Siggy will do, who's currently in 3rd position. Looks like he's buying his time at the moment, waiting for the right opportunity, maybe waiting for a little bit of contact, as we just saw out of the Mercedes arena a couple of laps ago. And then Florian Hasse holding on to 4th position behind him.
I was going to say, it seems like Hasse's ever so slightly dropping off. He's currently sitting quite pretty in 5th in the championship, and actually staying in 4th will be a fantastic result for him, being able to extend the gap out to those guys in 7th, 8th, 9th who are biting at the jaw lines to make sure that they are hanging on to any chance of getting into that top 6. Once again, DRS in effect for the top 3. I imagine it's probably for the same for Hasse as well. As into turn 1 we go once again, Rob, and once again Keithley holds on very nicely. You'd think that maybe it might be time for Kunze to switch up the strategy, because right now it's eat, sleep, rave and repeat.
But Keithley is not leaving any opportunities to Kunze at the moment. He always goes defensive early. He always covers the inside line, and it's really hard for Kunze to even attempt to move.
I'm thinking more just almost going NASCAR style bump drafting. Like, obviously it's a dangerous and risky move, but maybe one worth taking to throw Keithley off. I don't know. It just seems like Keithley's able to read his every move. It's almost too easy for him at this stage.
Yeah, but Keithley is also really strong out of the corners. Kunze is a bit stronger under braking, but Keithley always puts a little gap accelerating out of the corners. Let's see if we can actually see this here. This time Kunze was pretty strong. Let's see it out of the final corner. Oh, Kunze! But there you go, Keithley early on the throttle, and he's just pulling that gap, and that makes it really hard for Kunze to do anything about it.
Just seemed like the German maybe half lost it under braking, half thought he might go for a move. Once again, I mean, you can see Siggy just hanging around in the background, although bumping Kunze as they go through turn 1 once again. And you might say that Siggy's bump there has helped Kunze to a certain degree, looking a little bit closer to Keithley than before. Might have to be a bit of a scaremongering move to try and even force a door open on Jack Keithley, though.
Oh, Kunze, that was very wiggly out of the corner. But he also covers the inside, so no chance for Kevin Siggy. And we thought it would be easier to overtake on the Nürburgring than on Zandvoort, but at the moment the drivers are just covering the lines and there's no real opportunities.
Always willing to surprise us. Here's the Mercedes-AMG eSports racing competition as we're having a little look here at Nick Madsen. He has really dropped Yakubu, who's fallen back into the hands of Jaroslav Honzik. Looking up on board with Yakubu here. He's got DRS, so he's still just within range of Madsen, but definitely fallen off the back after those initial contacts. And oh, that's a bit of a mistake through the Mercedes arena. That's through the chicane. That's allowed Honzik to move, and he's going to take it. That is an outstanding bit of opportunistic driving from the Czech, who has relegated Yakubu down to 7th. He's going to have DRS to try and fight back. Honzik is in a pretty decent position here, though. He'll have DRS himself. He covers the inside, and that is a brilliant bit of driving from Jaroslav Honzik, who's up into P6.
Let's see if Yakubu is done here, because he's still trying to get an undercut for the next corner here in the Mercedes arena. And oh, he could dive. He's not doing it. Honzik runs a little bit wide though.
After middle line, Rob. perfect covering position.
So Honzik up into 6th position, and that means he's only 1 position behind Madsen. That means Madsen will only gain 2 points on him, and Madsen won't be happy with that.
That's a bit of a loose moment there from Honzik once again. It's time for Madsen to try and make a move on Hasse, but then again, he's about 2 seconds clear of the German. And we're over halfway through this race, Rob. 9.5 minutes remaining. Once again, the phrase comes up. Time is running out, even more so in the near state of things. Just taking a little look at the man who's just worked his way up into P10 here, Michael Reichel, who is in battle with the Dutchman Westerhoff. And these two having a nice little scrap on the edge of the top 10, of course, points stretching down to top 10. So this position, even though it may not impact the greater scheme of things, still an important battle to look out for.
Yeah, both drivers have not scored a point yet in the whole season, so it's a great opportunity for them to get their first point here. Westerhoff braking late, but Reichel also defending nicely. Got new drivers as well. Every round there are new drivers, and you can try to qualify as well if you go if you go on Steam and download Racing Experience. You can join this competition for free. It's probably a little bit too late to qualify for the final now, but you can try to beat the times of the fastest drivers, of the real DTM drivers, and you can try to qualify for one of these races as well, like Yannick Pini did in his first start, qualified. Yeah, and he's running in 1st position.
I think it's good to just get some experience on the board as well. I think eRacing in general becoming a much bigger presence on the esports scene, and honestly the only way to test yourself is up against the best. So do by all means get involved, whether you're just setting hot laps for fun or whether you see yourself up with the big guys on the live stream. We'd love to see many of you in the future, as here comes Steven Westerhoff once again on the outside of the chicane. Good defending from Reichel though, who is able to fend off the Dutchman once again, although he loses it massively on exit, and that is a free position to Westerhoff, who is up into P10.
Ah, that looked very unfortunate. It looked like he had a small issue there, because for me the car flickered for a moment, and maybe a small connection issue that completely threw him off. And yeah, the connection issues in the online competition, these are the technical problems in real motorsports. It can happen to everyone. Sometimes it's really unlucky, and Michael Reichel dropping back to 13th position.
A little peek behind the curtains. Sometimes it happens to the commentators as well, so no one is safe from the threat of the internet. But someone who is looking a little less under threat actually now is Jack Keithley, who's been able to pull ever so slightly away from Julian Kunter. And I guess in this situation, Rob, he's hoping that Kevin Siggy is going to become his best friend in a minute, because he really needs the Austrian to start attacking Julian just a little bit more so he can solidify this lead and take what may prove to be yet another race win this season.
I'm surprised that Kunze...
He's really attacked that, hasn't he?
Yeah, I wanted to say I'm surprised that Kunze drives so calm, but he's not driving calm. But he hasn't won a race this season. He's finished 2nd a number of times. I think 4 times already this season he's finished 2nd. And I'm sure he wants to win, but he needs to do something more if he really wants to have a chance here against Jack Keithley.
One thing I've noticed actually in just this half a lap that we've been on board looking back with Keithley, as another moment saved there by Kunze, is that Julian is really good in the braking zones. I know he was really attacking that chicane with as much aggression as he could reel out of that Mercedes-AMG car, but goodness, he has set up that car to be late on the brakes. You wonder why he wasn't a little bit more confident to maybe go for a little bit of a dive in the earlier stages when Keithley was under a lot more pressure. Maybe he's just looking to see how late he can leave it with the brakes, and then maybe looking for a late maneuver. I can't really comment much. I don't know how much Kunze wants to risk his car as DRS comes into effect once again.
Yeah, maybe he's actually waiting for the last lap or so and then make a surprise move against Keithley, because it looks like his tire wear is pretty good. Not dropping off Keithley at all at the moment, and it's always a bit easier for the car that is following to keep the tires in a good shape, because you always gain a bit of time in the slipstream and also with the DRS, so you don't have to push quite as hard in the corners and wear your tires.
2, 1, 5 minutes remaining. So we should be in, I'd imagine, for another 2 or 3 laps, as the bollard there potentially causing a bit of problems for our cars as they attempt to navigate turn 1 with a bit more treachery now than the start of the race. Nice helicopter cam here just to give you an idea. The top 3 really in a world of their own now. Hasser has fallen away, and it does seem to me at least, Rob, that it is a 3-way battle for the lead. You can never really count Siggy out, because he's one of those drivers that is willing to stay behind, and if anybody does get tangled in front of him, he's there to pick up all the pieces.
Yeah, and I think that's his strategy as well in this race. He hasn't really shown any attempts to make a move against Kunze.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's looking to consolidate more points to make sure that he himself is in the top 6 for the end of the championship. And these are good points, of course, 3rd position, a podium. And, well, I can only presume, Rob, that Kunze was just laying off for a lap to maybe see what was going on ahead of him, maybe testing some of the braking zones. Because once again, he is right on the back of Keithley. DRS open once again. But this is a big difference. Keithley doesn't feel the need to defend.
Yeah, Keithley seems to be really good with, judging when he has to go defensive and when not, because you never see him really getting surprised by anyone. Even when he was fighting with Heinemann in the last race, he wasn't getting surprised by Heinemann. Heinemann just kind of gave him a little tap and took the position, and then Keithley gave the tap back and Heinemann gave a tap back, but it's not like he's really anyone has really shocked him with the move.
I think actually that's one thing to say as well for this race is, apart from the first corner melee, apart from that little bit of fisticuffs between Madsen and Yakubu, been a very clean race actually.
Yep. In the first corner, unfortunately for Daniel Schön, it was not so good, because his chances to qualify for the final event, they are very, very slim now. And he looked like he had good pace, so it's a shame for him.
You could argue though, Rob, I mean, being the leader of pre-qualifying, should he have done better when push came to shove in the actual qualifying session? Is that
position here?
Yeah, it looks like
what happened to Honzik? That's a weird place. Yeah, but this is a weird place to lose a position. That was really odd. But we have to go back to the front, because Kunze is looking.
Yeah, going to the outside once again. He's done this all too many times, Kunze. And once again, Jack Keithley takes a wide exit. It's the perfect defensive line. He doesn't need to do much more. Yakubu, by the way, being promoted there up into P6. And so that wonderful move that Honzik pulled off a few laps ago, all for naught, as I imagine this might be actually the penultimate lap, Rob. Yeah, definitely the penultimate lap, actually. Rounding the hairpin once again, and it's noticeable that Kevin Siggy is closed in, maybe rearing up for a final attack on potentially the top 2. You'd imagine at least Kunze, certainly. Rounding turn 7 then, and down onto the back straight. Round the kink of turn 8, and Kunze closes, but he's not closing enough into the braking zone of the chicane. He gets ever so close though. Oh my goodness me. How they did not touch, I will not be able to answer that. But into the final corner we go for the penultimate time. It's last chance saloon for Julian Kunze and Kevin Siggy to try and wrestle the lead off Jack Keithley.
Don't think he's close enough here. Keithley defends once again. Siggy also really late on the brakes there.
Yeah, it's status quo. Once again, although Siggy with a little late look on Kunze into turn 2, they're not going to happen. Oh, Keithley just holding the line. Kunze getting very impatient. He's had to stare at the rear of Keithley's car from the very start of this race. He must be getting sick of it by this stage. Rather luckily and unluckily for him, Rob, it's not going to be the case for too much longer.
Yeah, this is definitely the final lap here. And Kunze is too far away, I think. Keithley, a little bit wide here. That was a mistake. So now Kunze is really catching up. Which line will he get? He will probably only get the outside.
Yeah.
Look at the DRS.
Last chance saloon here. So he's going to have to brake ridiculously late, and he's going to miss the chicane, actually. Is this going to lose him second position? Oh, he is. He's ahead. How's this going to work?
Oh!
Madness at the last corner. I don't know how any of them managed to survive that, but he held an extra card in his pocket throughout this entire race. It's Jack Keithley who wins from Julian Kunze, who just about managed to salvage second once again from what seemed to be certain defeat to Kevin Siggy, who comes home third. It's Florian Hasse then who comes home in fourth, with Nick Madsen rounding out the top five. Yakubu, Honzik, Lerner, Ivanov and Westerhoff rounding out your point scorers. The only retirement from this race are VIP driver Danny Junkadea. But goodness me, Robbers, that was building up throughout the entire race, and I cannot believe that those three managed to get out of that in one piece at the final corner.
I think what happened was that Kunze took the position off the track, and he wanted to give the position back to Keithley, but he also didn't want to allow Kevin Siggy Rebanak through. And so he just kind of had to find a way that Keithley gets the position and Siggy Rebanak does not. So they were going almost 3 wide into the last corner, and in the end it's Jack Keithley once again winning the race.
And therefore securing his top 6 spot.
Yeah, that's definitely certain. Now we will see Jack Keithley at the final round at the DTM for the live event of the eRacing competition. So congratulations to Jack, and we will be right back.
So, welcome back then to the Mercedes-AMG Motorsport eRacing competition, where a bit of a slow burner turned into a bit of a bright firework at the end there. Jack Keithley just about wrestling victory away from the clutching grasps of Kunze and Siggy. What can be said, Rob? There's been some confirmations, of course, with Keithley going into the top 6 for certain for the final, the live event, of course, at the Hockenheim Ring for this competition. But there's been some strong stakes as well. Kunze and Siggy, both of those guys currently in the top 6. Very good points for them getting on the podium.
Yeah, and it's good to see Julian Kunze as well performing so strongly after missing 2 rounds. He definitely has not forgotten how to drive these cars, and he's looking strong now as well in order to qualify for the final event. Siggy as well scored a lot of points, and Heinemann, I think he has to wonder a little bit. And on the one hand, it's a good result for him, because the people who are not currently in the top 6, like Schön, like Lerner, didn't score a lot of points.
Yeah.
So he actually didn't lose a lot of points. But on the other hand, he has to wonder, with the current form that the top 3 are in, it should get really exciting if he manages to qualify for the live event. Heinemann, of course, is the defending champion. He won the live event last year when there was only one live event and no online races in order to qualify for that. So it will be interesting to see. Either way, I think you've got Jack Keithley with you for an interview.
Yeah, indeed. Plenty to consider as well. Kevin Siggy, again, the fastest lap. Will he be a challenge for any potential future win? Well, hopefully Jack is with us.
I'm not sure if he's got his microphone open. So, Jack?
I think he might potentially be not aware of what we're saying, unfortunately, Rob. So it might be worth bringing in Julian Kunze first.
Oh, that's
no,
Jack.
Here he is. There we go. Jack, welcome along. I was just saying maybe Kevin Siggy might be in with a chance of wins later on down the road. I imagine, though, despite the fact that you are nailed on now for a top 6 finish in this competition, you don't really want to do that. You were merciless once again, a defending masterclass off the 2 of them today.
I'll tell you what, can these lads behind me, can they give you a bit of a break? Because so intense, but yeah, there's just no resting. It's just, I mean,
I'm sorry, Jack. We have a little bit of a microphone problem at the moment.
I didn't even know how far it was alongside of me. I had no idea. But that was just a grueling, exhausting race, but that was really fun from start to finish.
I have a little bit of a transmission problem here to Jack Keithley. It's very hard to understand him, so maybe
I was able to pick up a bit there, actually. I know that it was an exhausting race. He wants the guys behind to let him off a bit because he was under pressure for the entire thing. To be fair, it was a well-deserved victory, certainly. I mean, the amount of great lines you were taking in, the amount of pressure which you had to fend off from Kunter, it was as much as I've seen you deal with all season. Potentially, Jack, we would love to get... Oh, actually, let's have a little look here. Yeah, we wouldn't understand either, Jack. Perhaps we could bring in Julian just momentarily. Maybe we can come back to Jack for a little bit. Rob, I believe you got Julian with you.
Yeah, and hopefully he can understand me and we can understand him. Julian?
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, that's much better. So, you're back in the Mercedes-AMG eRacing competition and second place once again. And it looked like you could almost take the victory in the last chicane, and then Keithley took it back. What happened there?
First of all, it was a really intense race. Jack has always a really impressive pace, and but I was able with the DRS to keep up and try to make some moves, but he always defends and was fair until last chicane. And yeah, I was in front of Jack Keithley before going into the last chicane, and I felt, but it's only without watching the replay, I felt that he broke a bit too late and that we could not go through the chicane side by side. So I decided to cut it, and yeah, then he make the move in the last corner. Yeah, if you take the move at itself, it was a dirty one, but I think, yeah, I have to watch a replay to make a better answer.
Okay, to be honest, for us it looked like you cut the chicane and then you let him back through, but this was actually a racing move then by Jack for the win. Either way, talking about the season so far, you've already missed 2 races, but it doesn't really seem to hurt your campaign because you're looking on course for qualifying for the final event at the Hockenheimring.
Yeah, and that's a good thing because I want to take part at the final, and so unfortunately I missed the 2 races because of other things in private. Yeah, unfortunately I will miss the next race. Yeah, so I only have 1 to go.
So you definitely needed all the points you scored today, but with the second place, that's a lot of points for you. So congratulations.
Thanks.
And we will try once again to talk to Jack Keithley.
Jack Keithley, are you there?
I am here, yes.
That's slightly better than what we had, and certainly we did get plenty from you for the first thing. I think we definitely got the gist of it was a really tough race, very exhausting and such. But perhaps one final question to round us off is, how does it feel to know that you are now nailed on for the final event at the Hockenheimring, going up against those Mercedes DTM drivers? It must be a very enticing challenge, and I certainly know from their side of things that they're pretty interested to know how you will fare against them in such a competitive environment.
The way you just said all that, you know, racing against Mercedes DTM drivers, that just rolls off the tongue nicely. But I'm absolutely excited. I really cannot wait. It's going to be an experience of a lifetime for me. And, you know, there will be one of them DTM drivers there who, I don't know if Daniel Yukandale will be doing it, but I used to be teammates with him years and years ago. So either way, if I see him there, we should be able to recognise each other.
Well, I tell you what, certainly from the pace that you've shown all season, you thoroughly deserve it, Jack. And well done, of course, on yet another win to add to your large resume.
Thank you very much, and very good race, Julian. And I know he's not here, but Kevin also. There was times actually, well, just last thing. There was times I was thinking, come on, Kevin, will you just overtake Julian and give me a break, please?
I called that during the race as well. I was thinking, Kevin would really be a good friend to Jack if he did this, but in the end, you didn't need him. You were able to pull it off on your own. So well done anyway, Jack. And I guess that leaves us, Rob, to kind of think about what's going to be happening in 2 weeks' time at Spielberg, where we've just had live confirmation Julian Kunsen not going to be there once again. Of course, the potential return of Tim Heinemann, plenty, it seems, to look forward to and talk about when we arrive in Austria.
Yeah, it should definitely be a good race. Of course, the home race for Kevin Siguremanak, and he's still looking for his first win. We should have a few stories. And then, of course, the fight for 6th position, the really exciting one. Jaroslav Honzik lost a few points to Nick Madsen this time. And we all wonder, of course, what's the answer of Moritz Löhner, who will be looking strong on that track. It's a very fast circuit, and usually it's the best circuit when it comes to overtaking on the DTM calendar, so I'm really excited.
Oh, it's one of my favorites for sure as well. And whether I'm commentating or watching, I'm sure it'll be a fantastic event either way. Did you just have any final thoughts?
No, not really. I would just say tune in once again in 2 weeks when we're back for the next race, and hopefully, yeah, we will see you once again in the broadcast chat on Facebook or on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Thanks a lot, James. It's been a pleasure.
As always, certainly.
And to everyone at home, bye-bye. We're out.
Take care.